Welcome in and welcome back everybody to another Q&A video, which I haven't done in a hot minute, to be honest. So I decided to ask you guys for any questions you guys might have for me. So I compiled a bunch of them out of like 300 questions. So I appreciate everybody asking questions, and I'm going to try my best to answer them in about 30 minutes or less. First of all, I just do want to say thank you to everybody for everybody's kind words. A lot of people in there didn't even have questions, just kind of wanted to be nice and say some nice things. And you know, thank you. I appreciate it. I appreciate every one of you who still watches these videos, who interacts with them and likes and comments and everything. You're the reason I'm still able to do this as a job, so I appreciate you immensely. So thank you very much to every single one of you. Now on to the questions. I actually wanted to start off on the topic of Dusk Bloods because I did get asked quite a few different questions about Dusk Bloods and, you know, kind of what I thought about it. What was my opinion on the game? And somebody asked it in a specific way, which is, do I think Dusk Bloods is going to be the next big thing in the Soulsborne community, or will it fail? Now, do I think Dusk Bloods will fail? I guess it depends on what your measurement of failure is in terms of FromSoft. Do I think it's going to sell as much as any of the Souls games, or Sekiro, or Bloodborne, or Elden Ring? No. Do I think it'll probably do alright for a Nintendo exclusive title? In terms of sales, yeah, I do think it will. But will it be one that the community as a whole accepts and plays and enjoys and goes forward like a Souls game or something and gets a bunch of support from the community? Probably not. And there is a couple reasons for it, and it's not even because of what the game itself might be. I think a lot of it stems from the fact that it is on Nintendo. The fact that the barrier to entry into this game that is already a game that probably won't appeal to a massive part of the community. Listen, the PvP side of me and the PvP community, I would say, is probably pretty excited about this game. Especially if you already are planning to get or have a Nintendo Switch 2, but it's such an expensive console. It's probably going to be a $80, $90 game like the other Nintendo games. And its primary focus is PvP, I would say that already sounds like only about 20% of the intact Souls Elden Ring community even has interest in. There was a leak actually not too long ago talking about how this is actually the game that they've worked the most time on when it comes to the actual combat system, which makes sense, right? Not only having it getting it to work for the Nintendo community, but having a multiplayer exclusive game, it sounds really ambitious for FromSoftware. So I can see why, and it might not even necessarily be that it took them so long to figure something out. It's like, how are we going to do this? How are we going to make this feasible for a community that, let's be honest, mostly enjoys Mario? More on the younger side probably when it comes to video games. It's such a niche type of game already, and then not only that, but popping it on probably one of the most niche consoles in terms of like the age range and the community themselves. I know the Nintendo Switch 2 has sold a ridiculous amount, don't get me wrong, but how many of those Nintendo fans are truly looking forward to a FromSoftware multiplayer game? You know what I mean? So while I don't think it will fail, I do think that over time, without the support of other consoles and possibly bringing it to PC and PlayStation and Xbox and all that, yes, I do think it will die quickly and much faster than any other game we've seen so far when it comes to FromSoft, which is sad to think about. But in general, you know, I'm going to play it. I'll see how it is. I'll take the hit financially, and we'll see what we get from the game. Another question I often get asked is my personality on YouTube much different than with my family or friends? And I would say no. I think that maybe like tuned up a little bit, right? Obviously I have to be a little bit more excited, a little bit more talkative in my videos and in my live streams and stuff. But to be honest, when I actually do hang out with friends and, you know, I'm talking to my mom or my brother or something, I'm usually the same, just toned down a little bit. I make the same stupid jokes, the same jokes that get no laughs with Valentine. It's all very similar and pretty much the same, except maybe tuned down a little bit. Then we have a question from Grey Rat of the Undead Settlement who asks, has anyone seen Loretta? I'm beginning to worry. And no, I haven't seen her, man. I'm sure she's fine. I'm sure she's just fine. Yeah, just keep looking. Have you completely given up on invasions? I love the Adventures of the Worst Invader, especially Dark Souls 3. Do you ever think of coming back to it? I do always get asked about Adventure of the Worst Invader, invasions in general, right? A lot of people, I think, do still know me from PvP and invasions again, which is why I'm so excited about Dusk Bloods. But the hard part about invasions is just straight up finding people and having kind of like variety, right? A lot of what I've seen in Dark Souls 3 and the last time that I played Dark Souls 3 Invasions was kind of just the same build over and over, the same type of gankers in Gank City, still just waiting for people, just ganking with the strongest builds. Honestly, after a while and years of doing it, yes, it did get boring. Would I ever return to it consistently and like continuously go back and make a ton of Adventures of the Worst Invader videos? It would depend, honestly, like if I had fun with it and I was able to continuously get a lot of people to invade. Every once in a while, those games you will see activity, but that activity is very limited from my experience of going back to them. So it's definitely not out of the question, and I still do love invasions. I'll play Elden Ring invasions every once in a while. It's a very unique experience that I only really get from invasions, and yeah, I am very excited for like Dusk Bloods that focuses on PvP, and I'm sure you'll see more invasions and PvP stuff leading up to Dusk Bloods, especially kind of trying to get my mind back into that whole 1v1 PvP side of things. So for sure, you most likely will see that within the next year. You guys will see a lot more PvP stuff. Who do I think wins in a 1v1, Melentia or the Sewer Hollow Girl from Dark Souls 1? I will say, the Sewer Girl talks a lot of shit. She seems to talk a lot of shit for somebody who maybe can't back it up. But she is behind a metal grate, which could be a telling thing in that she ain't protecting herself if somebody gets her hands around her. You know what I mean? She ain't really gonna be fighting anybody. While Melentia, on the other hand, she's sweet. She's a little cheeky every once in a while. You can always count on her for a cute smile in Dark Souls 2. But I do think the Sewer Hollow Girl probably would have her because she seems like she'd be willing to go further. She'd be willing to stab somebody in the spleen or bite a calf or a main artery with her bare teeth. While I can't see Melentia doing that. I just can't. I'm sure she's scrappy, but I can't see her doing that. So I would have to give it to the Sewer Hollow Girl from Dark Souls 1. Do you ever just play games for fun, or is it only for your channel now? If so, what games do you like to play? I do actually occasionally play video games offline. It's not super common because, you know, I do have a busy schedule when it comes to editing and streaming. And then in that time, trying to find a place to fit in, you know, like personal life and hanging out with Valentine and my brother and stuff like that. But I've been playing actually recently a little bit of Black Ops 7 offline with a friend. And it's mostly that. It's mostly like I'll play shooters that aren't like, you know, super popular on the channel. So I'll just usually play them offline, especially when I'm playing with friends. Rarely will I play like a single player game offline anymore, because at that point I'm always like, I might as well stream it, right? So rarely will I ever play single player games, but multiplayer games, you can catch me offline playing them every so often. What would be one of your favorites long time running jokes or gags of the channel? I'm gonna be honest, the whole lore behind Cookie, I would say is probably my favorite, especially after her passing away and everything. You know, while it does sometimes, like, you know, somebody had also asked me if like seeing Cookie so often, like emotes and stuff, gets me sad, and I will say it did in the beginning. In the beginning, it was hard. Let me tell you, man, because I kept it from people on Twitch for a little bit, just because I wasn't ready to say anything. And even on YouTube, especially if you're hearing this for the first time, but Cookie did pass away about a year ago now, and I haven't really talked about it, and I haven't mentioned it and made like a proper video on its own, just because I still feel like I have a hard time talking about it. But I will say I absolutely love always seeing Cookie everywhere. I love the lore stuff. And that's one of the reasons I think I also maybe internally didn't want to mention it, because I don't want those jokes to go away. I don't want people to stop making jokes about Cookie, about her all-powerful being. You know, the way I like to see it is, you know, she didn't die. She just kind of like decided she just wanted to go away for a little bit. She's probably off somewhere in a different universe, bothering me in a different universe, you know. So I never want those to go away. I love keeping the lore of Cookie the dog up, the all-powerful being. It will never get boring for me, and now I absolutely love seeing it. But that is probably now become my favorite lore and or running inside gag between everybody on the community. Do you think From Software will ever remake or remaster Dark Souls 2 or Dark Souls 3? I would say yes. Probably down the line, I'm sure we'll get a remaster for Dark Souls 2 and or Dark Souls 3. Most likely, I would lean more towards Dark Souls 3 than Dark Souls 2, but I think we'll get something eventually, either a remaster or a remake of sorts. I would love to see Dark Souls 2 or Dark Souls 3, even Dark Souls 1, get the Demon Souls treatment. I still think Demon Souls for the PS5 is probably the best looking From Software game ever. And I know people are going to say, it's not a From Software game, it was made by Bluepoint. They changed everything. Whatever. I still think it looks amazing. I love playing it. I thought it was fantastic. And if Dark Souls 3 got that treatment, oh boy, I'd be all over that. But I think we'll get something in the future. And that kind of connects into another question that somebody asked, which is Dark Souls 4, Elden Ring 2, Bloodborne 2, or Sekiro 2. Man, there's so many goddamn sequels that are possible here. But if I had to pick out of all of those, gun to my head, and if we're talking about, by the way, directed by Hidetaka Miyazaki, I'd have to go with Dark Souls 4. I know a lot of people are going to be disappointed. I'm curious to see which one you would pick. So out of all of those, which one do you think you'd pick? Leave it in a comment. But Dark Souls 3 was absolutely incredible. I know they finished off the series and nothing more can be really done there, especially after the DLCs, but who knows, right? They'd come up with something. And then the PvP side of it for Dark Souls 3 was my personal favorite. So if we can build off of that and just have something similar, then I think we'd have a hell of a game on our hands. Realistically, out of all of these, the one that's more likely to happen is probably Bloodborne 2. You know, I've said before, I think they are working on something, but only the future will be able to tell what it is. Do you ever get tired of beating every boss first try? The answer is no, Christopher. I'd never get tired of it. This is kind of a funny one that somebody asked, by the way. Do you plan on trying to make contact with someone at Ad Hoc so you could voice act a character in the next installment of Dispatch? Which, listen, that obviously, I don't think I'm on that level, right? Like, the people they get are like moist critical, like these dudes who have millions and millions and millions of subs. But if there was ever any way that I could, or a chance, I absolutely would take it. I think it would be fun. I think it would be hilarious. Even if it's, you want me as a guy in the back going, oh my leg, you know, I'll take it, right? I'll do something on there. Do I have contacts like that? Absolutely not. Would I do it? Hell yeah, I would. Where would you put your vlog content traveling compared to your gaming content? Is it something you enjoy more or less? I wouldn't say it's something that I enjoy more or less. It's just kind of different. You know, I've done a few vlogs here and there, and it is something I definitely want to do more. In the future, I actually kind of want to start a second channel with Valentine, where the main channel could just kind of stay the main channel, right? We have our regular content, our gaming stuff, and then I'd love to have the second channel for doing stuff like traveling for anybody who would be interested from the main channel. So you all just have a place that is mainly just focused on that, doing different stuff that is mainly focusing around real life, you know, going outside, traveling places, filming cool stuff, reviews of random stuff, funny ideas that I have. And I have tons of ideas, but it's so hard to kind of think of wanting to do them on this channel, mainly because it is a channel so focused on video games and not showing my face, that like a channel that is mainly all about that sounds more intriguing to me than doing it on here, if that makes any sense. At least because I don't want to alienate a bunch of people who don't like that type of content. I would much rather do a second channel where me and Miss Valentine are able to more freely kind of do more stuff along those lines, because we love it. It's fun, and I'm trying to get out of my comfort zone with it as well, which I'm sure you've seen from a couple of videos where like my hands were shaking and shit. Listen, a lot of people commented, so many people commented on the unboxing video I did with a bunch of Souls shit about my hands shaking. We're like, bro, are you okay, man? Just make sure you don't have low blood pressure or anything. Like, man, I was so nervous recording that. it's something so different for me in terms of like video games. I don't like showing my face, you know. I don't like doing face cam. Anytime you see me doing face cam, it's me really getting out of my comfort zone. So yeah, it is something that I want to start trying to do more, and I think I will. I think next year I'm going to try my best maybe to make a big push on that, especially on the streaming side with IRL streams, because me and Valentine have so many fun ideas that we really want to do, and I think we'll find a place to do them for sure. Red or green tamales? Green. Are you interested in doing a Rune Level 1 run for the Elden Ring DLC in the future? And yes, I haven't done it, and I know a lot of people have been asking. And I have mentioned it in the past where it's a little hard to get motivated to want to do that, because it is something that is going to be very time consuming, very stressful, very time consuming. And at the moment, I just haven't felt that a lot of people have been too interested in just kind of doing challenge runs. The community is kind of in a weird place, and not just you guys, I meant more like the Souls community, the Elden Ring community, if you want to call it that, as a whole, where so many people are just kind of, I don't know, maybe bored, maybe they're kind of losing interest in the games, where stuff like mods kind of take over that, and people seem to be a lot more interested in mods, whereas if I streamed, let's just say 5 hours of Elden Ring DLC Rune Level 1 compared to like 5 hours of me playing a mod, most likely the mod stuff is going to get way more interest in people, and people are going to be way more excited to see that than me dying to a boss for 4 hours straight. And it comes with patience as well, which is something that I've noticed has dwindled a lot with the release of Elden Ring. I feel like before, with the challenge runs that I used to do, I don't know if it's just like people's attention span or something, man, but people get so bored now. I can't remember what it was. It wasn't too long ago. I was stuck on a specific boss, and it wasn't even that long. I want to say it was maybe an hour. And the amount of people that were like not believing in it, telling me that I should just give up for now and come back later, and that take a break and take a rest. I'm like, guys, it's been an hour. Like, that's nothing. I've sat here for 4 hours straight fighting a boss back in the day, and it used to be like, oh, you know, like obviously there was a little bit of that kind of like, oh, take a break, but a lot of people really, you know, pushing me to keep going, and you got this shit and shit like that. And nowadays it almost feels like people give up way faster, and it's not a place you really want to be when trying a challenge like this. You don't really want people to constantly be telling you, oh, why are you doing this? You should just take a break. Maybe you should just quit this. Maybe you should go to a different boss. Like, no, you want people to motivate you and people to be cheering you on and be excited about fighting a boss. And when you get close, everybody gets excited. You don't want it to be like all negative. And the last time that I did do a little bit of Rune Level 1 DLC, and I did actually start it, I want to say a year ago when I did a 24-hour live stream. It was actually the thing I started with, and I never really made any videos on it because I wasn't able to beat a boss. I was stuck on like 2 bosses trying to go back and forth, and it just seemed so negative to me, the way like the people were handling the fights and stuff, that it just kind of threw me off, and I didn't feel like coming back to it. And maybe I will in the future, but I really have no plans for it at the moment. And maybe down the line, if we're ever bored and we need something to keep our time and keep our brains busy, maybe it could be something that we can do. But for now, I want to say that there's so many other things I want to play and try out, including mods and other games and horror games and stuff like that, that I'd rather just put it on the back end and maybe come back to it in the future. And hopefully people understand, because I do know people want to see it. It's still there, you know. I still want to try it one day. The challenge part of my brain wants to do it, just to kind of have the complete set, right? We've done every single game, every single DLC at this point, and it's pretty much the only thing left. So I want to do it in the future, and I'm sure I will. Just I have no plans for it right now. Speaking of something that I haven't done in a long time, somebody asked, hey Prod, just wanted to ask, what actually inspired you to play Alien Isolation exactly on Halloween every year? And yes, this year was the final part of Alien Isolation. It's a series that I came back to every year, and I guess the reason I started it is because I probably had the intention to do a full playthrough right at the beginning, but I'm pretty sure it just got such low views at the time and such a little interest that I was like, kind of bummed about it, and I just didn't really upload it. I may or may not had that footage for like a whole year, and then I realized I had it, or I was like trying to find something to do for Halloween that could be good for like horror games and face cam, and I was like, oh yeah, I never finished Alien Isolation. And then I did a little bit of it and played it for about an hour or two. It was most likely very similar or the same, where I was like, oh, very little views. And then I had this idea. I was like, why don't I just do this every year, and it doesn't matter what the views are. And it's just a funny, dumb running gag. And honestly, it made me feel so much better about it. And I just thought it was a funny goof of like the longest playthrough on YouTube that took me about 5 years to finish. And I think that was pretty much my idea for that series. I just thought it was funny. Can I have my soul back from Cookie? No, definitely not. In light of the fallout regarding the most recent COD game, which by the way, it has gotten way less sales. I think it's something like 70% less sales for the new COD, Black Ops 7, which is kind of crazy. How do you feel about your content creation path over the years, moving away from COD towards Souls-like / variety? Was there ever a time you doubted your decisions? I will say I doubt my decisions just about with everything I do, every single time. And it could be maybe not a healthy way to live life, but in general, a lot of people do say sometimes if like you don't doubt your decisions and maybe you're not doing the right thing. I've always been incredibly happy, and I've felt very lucky to catch the break that I did and be where I am now. My move from COD was freaking scary, man. Even though I didn't have a lot of viewers really at the time at all, I had probably max, I was gonna be getting like 200 views a video, like 20,000 subs when I was playing Call of Duty for years. I played that thing for 5 years and never ever had any type of luck with making any type of money, and it was never anything about like that, right? I just like making Call of Duty montages and commentaries and stuff like that. And even then, making the transition to stop playing Call of Duty was terrifying to moving over to Dark Souls. And I've felt similar fear trying to do a lot more variety. And it is scary because with a job like this, it ain't like a regular job. I feel very fortunate to, be able to take care of myself and take care of my family. But it's a job where it could just be gone the next month. And when it comes to YouTube and Twitch and all that, I've experienced that personally. From like 4 years ago, I've probably lost 70-75% of viewers and money and people that are still around watching the videos. And that's just reality, right? It was a different world with everything being shut in and not being able to go outside. I wouldn't change it for anything. I was doing incredibly well during that time. Obviously, I'd rather the world not be locked up, but a lot of people were around on the channel around that time and on Twitch and stuff. I understand why things went down, which is why I'm always still so appreciative of the people who are still around and watching the videos and hopefully enjoying them. But it's always scary, that's why I often don't finish games. The fear of something like that, which sucks, and I do want it to be something that I improve upon in 2026. I do think that is one of my goals, and that is to kind of try it out more, because you just never know what's going to happen, right? Who would have known that jumping over from COD would have let me here where I am today, and able to have this as a job for damn near 10 years now. It's absolutely crazy to think about. I think if I told my 14-year-old self when I was making videos that I'd still be doing them and making money from them like 15 years later is bananas. But what I will say is I have never regretted anything I've done, other than maybe not finishing some playthroughs and stuff like that. I've never regretted the stuff that I have done, I will say. So if you ever have a situation where things might seem a little bit scary, and if you're able to do this thing that you're afraid of, just try it out, because you never really know what's going to happen. And on that note, I think we've hit probably pretty close to around 30 minutes. Hopefully it's a little bit less. But thank you all so much for watching. I'm incredibly appreciative of every single one of you. So thank you so much for always being here. And happy Thanksgiving to anybody who celebrates it as well. Have yourselves an amazing, wonderful rest of your day. Hopefully I'll see you guys in the next stream even. Take care of yourselves, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye, everybody.